Hello and welcome to this session. In this session, we are looking at common diet for different patients. So, what is the best diet for a patient with acute renal failure? Remember, the kidney is not functioning properly here. So, we are having even proteins in urine. Okay. So, this patient is supposed to be put on a protein restricted diet, high calorie, fluid controlled, sodium and potassium controlled. Remember, low potassium fruits such as the grapes, pineapples, lettuce, green grams, and cucumber should be suggested. You should also look at the foods that are low in potassium, such as the pasta, the noodles, the rice, should also be restricted to should also be recommended for the patients. And then the patient should avoid high potassium foods such as milk, bananas, oranges, spinach, tomatoes, and broccoli. Thank you. The next condition is Addison disease. Okay, this patient should be put on increased sodium and low potassium diet. Remember, here we are having adrenal hypofunction. Okay, and such patients normally crave for salty foods. So you need to give them eggs, cheese, salted nuts, and seed and poultry. Okay, you need to ensure that you're giving them more calcium and more vitamin D. ADH and bipolar disorder is our next condition, okay? And ADH stands for attention deficit hyperactive disorders. So such kind of children, they are restless, they are not able to concentrate, right? So you're supposed to put them on a high diet because they need more energy. You provide finger foods. Remember, high fat diet may be associated with this ADH, okay? And we should also know that unsaturated fats may also increase the risk for heart conditions and memory problems. So you need to avoid foods like fried foods, processed meat, butter, high fat dietary products, heavy cream because they may not be healthy for your student. Next condition is burns. And this year you are saying that these patients should be put on high protein, high calorie, and increase in vitamin C. Foods rich in vitamin C could include foods such as oranges, strawberry, papaya, and grapefruit. Okay? Remember, patients need a lot of proteins while healing. Okay? Because the body will lose more proteins through those wounds. And muscles tend to break down, trying to produce more extra energy for the healing process. So that's why we need to give them high calorie. Okay? Great. A patient with cancer needs to be put on high calorie and high proteins. Remember, health diet habits will be important during the treatment and after. Okay, so a diet that should focus more on the plant-based foods along with regular exercise so that it can help these cancer patients maintain healthy body weight, maintain strength, and decrease side effects of the treatment. Okay, we have also celiac disease, and this celiac disease, we say that we need to put these patients on gluten-free diet. And to help us remember the gluten-free diet, we have the acronym or the mnemonic BRO. So we need to avoid barley, rye, oats, and wheat. Remember, should be for life because even the slightest amount of gluten can trigger an immune response that can damage the small intestines of the patients. Okay. Next is chronic renal failure, chronic disease. We need to put them on protein restricted, low sodium, fluid restricted, potassium restricted, and also phosphorus restricted. Remember, in chronic renal disease, there is over accumulation of wastes, and mostly of them could relate to things like phosphorus. Okay, so you don't need to give them more phosphorus. They already have excess accumulation of this in their system that needs to be excreted. Next, we have stable cirrhosis, and you're saying that in a patient with stable cirrhosis, the patient can just be given normal protein diet. But this is contrary to a patient with hepatic insufficiency, because in this guy, we need to restrict protein, we need to give more fluids, okay, and sodium, okay. So this patient, we are supposed to restrict the protein, we're supposed to look at the amount of fluids we are giving them so that is restricted, and we avoid also sodium, because when there is sodium, it's going to attract more water. And remember, these patients are suffering from generalized edema, so giving them more of this will worsen the situation. Constipation is the next condition, and in this condition we are saying we give them high fiber diet, okay, high fiber diet with increased fluids so that to help in excretion. We also have COPD. This is a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. These patients need to be given soft, high calorie, low carbohydrate, high fat, and small frequent feedings. Remember, these patients have problems with breathing. They need more energy for breathing, and that's why we are giving them more fat, at least to be a reservoir for the energy production. Okay. Next patient is cystic fibrosis, and in cystic fibrosis, we say that we give them more fluids, okay? We give them more fluids so that they can be able to loosen the secretions, okay? Remember, individuals with cystic fibrosis have increased sweat production, which is much higher than other patients. And you see this dehydration, this sweat production normally results to dehydration. So the patient may start producing thick secretions. And if these thick secretions are in the system, they're likely to block the GIT, okay? So that's what we need to avoid. Diarrhea, and these patients need to be given a liquid, low fiber, and regular fluid and electrolyte replacement, okay? Gallbladder diseases, we're saying for these patients, remember, bile is made in the liver and stored in the gallbladder. So bladder diseases, it means they are not able to release the bile. Okay, help these patients by giving them a low fat diet, calorie restricted, and sometimes regular diet. For patients with gastritis, they need low fiber and a bland diet. Remember, a bland diet is a diet consisting of foods that are generally soft, low in dietary fiber, cooked rather than raw, okay, and not that spicy. Great. The next patient is hepatitis, and they're saying that you can give them regular, make sure you're giving them high calorie and high protein diet. Remember, the liver is involved in the production of proteins, and when it's not working properly, we have to supplement that. Hyperlipidemias, give these patients fat controlled, calorie restricted diet. For patients with hypertension, heart failure, and coronary artery diseases, you need to give them low sodium, calorie restricted, and fat controlled diet. Patients with nephrolithiasis, kidney stones, you need to increase their fluid intake, okay, 2 to 3 liters per day. Most nephrolithiasis are caused by accumulation of sodium and oxalate, and that's why you need to restrict the calcium so that you control it, and you give low oxalate. Nephrotic syndrome disease, these patients, you need to give them sodium restricted diet. Give them high calorie, high proteins, and potassium restricted diet. Obesity and overweight patients, we're saying that this one you need to do calorie restricted and you need them to give them high fiber diet. Pancreatitis, give them low fat diet. You need to give them regular diet, small frequent feedings, tube feeding, or sometimes total parenteral nutrition. Next, you have peptic ulcer disease, and in peptic ulcer disease, this one is a bland diet. And the bland diet, we say that foods that are easy to digest. Also common for patients recovering from surgery and conditions that affect GIT. Those are the conditions that you need to consider. Next, you have to give the patients for pernicious anemia. In this case, you increase vitamin B12. Okay, a link will be popping up where you are able to look at the different names for different vitamins. So like for vitamin B is normally referred to as cobalamin. Okay, so and this vitamin is found in high amounts on the shellfish, beef, liver, or fish. Okay, sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia, and in patients with sickle cell anemia, you increase fluids to maintain hydration. Since sickling increases when patients become dehydrated. Remember, for this one, you look at the fluids, increase the fluids, 2 to 3 liters per day. Okay? For stroke, you're saying that you give them mechanical food, soft, regular, or tube feeding. Okay, here we are worried with issues to do with aspiration. For underweight patients, give them high calorie, high protein diet. For vomiting patients, give them fluid. You give them fluid and electrolyte replacement. So guys, thank you for watching this. These are the some of the different types of diet for different type of patients. Remember to share and share more information for different conditions with the different diets. Okay? Thank you so much.